Welcome to MystiCast.
Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're getting into a really perplexing case. It's about the disappearance of Mary Day. She was 13, vanished from Seaside, California back in 1981.
Right.
And here's the thing that immediately grabs you. Her parents, they never reported her missing.
Never, which is, incredibly unusual.
Exactly. They just moved on.
Yeah.
So right away, this story is going to be much stranger than you might think.
Absolutely.
So our mission here is to really unpack the sources we have, look at Mary's, frankly, chaotic childhood, how she disappeared, why her sister starts searching years later, and then this truly unbelievable twist the case took.
Yeah, it's a twist that forces you to ask, what actually happened?
What really happened to Mary Day? That's the core question.
And I think this deep dive, it's not just about a missing girl. It really goes into the complexity of truth itself, doesn't it?
Definitely.
How memory works or doesn't work sometimes. And, the limits of proof when you're dealing with these very human, very messy situations. Fractured families.
Identity itself, really.
Precisely. It challenges how we think about identity.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork. Mary Day, born 1968. The sources we've looked at, they paint a picture of a really turbulent early life.
Very tough, yeah.
We're talking foster care, poverty, allegations of abuse. She'd already lived in multiple homes, multiple states by the time she was a teenager. Not stable at all.
And by 1981, she's living with her mother, Charlotte, and her stepfather, William Hole. And this relationship with his stepfather, William, it seems crucial.
How so?
Well, the sources mention specific accusations of physical abuse. Her sisters, Sherry and Kathy, they remembered Mary being punished. A lot.
Severely punished.
Apparently so, yes. And that Mary was desperate, just wanted to get out of there. That difficult home life is a really important context for everything that follows.
And then she's gone. Just vanishes.
Oof.
Her sisters, Sherry and Kathy, they were told she'd been, sent away to live with relatives somewhere.
Which sounds plausible on the surface, maybe.
But even then, it didn't feel right to them. Mary left things behind. Personal stuff. Her shoes were apparently right by the front door.
Like she was just about to step out.
Exactly. Her room didn't look like someone packed up to leave forever. It looked like she just stepped out for a minute. It was like she just evaporated.
And then years go by.
A long time.
The family moves away. Life seems to, go on externally.
Mm-hmm.
But for Sherry and Kathy, that memory of Mary just being gone,
yeah,
it lingered.
It haunted them.
Yeah, a kind of persistent echo, you could say, throughout their adult lives.
Well, it wasn't just a vague feeling of loss, was it? As they got older, this shared memory started to surface. Something specific and deeply unsettling.
Right. As adults, they both remembered something from around the time Mary disappeared. Seeing their stepfather.
Digging
a hole.
in the backyard at night.
Oh, wow.
They were young then, didn't fully get it maybe. But looking back as adults, this memory became horrifying. It led them to believe, to be convinced.
That Mary hadn't just run away, that she'd been killed and buried right there in their own backyard.
That's chilling. And you have to wonder, how often do these kinds of deeply buried traumatic memories come back years later and actually trigger action?
It's a really critical point, actually. It happens more than you might think. It shows how trauma can just lie dormant and then resurface with such force,
Yeah.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about a past event.
And it certainly did here. This conviction, this memory, it finally pushed Sherry and Kathy to come forward in 2002.
Which reopened the whole case.
Yes, the authorities took it seriously this time. They started investigating, and that included bringing cadaver dogs to the old house in Seaside.
The house where Mary was last seen, to search that backyard.
And the dogs, they indicated a spot.
They alerted, yeah. Which is significant.
Hugely significant. At that point, the police must have thought, okay, this is it. We're about to find her remains. The end seemed near.
It really highlights the power of forensic tools like cadaver dogs, doesn't it?
Mm.
But also, as we'll see, maybe there are limitations sometimes.
Oh, definitely setting up the central conflict here. Because just when you think you know where this is going, 2003 happens.
The massive curveball.
Completely unexpected. Picture this. Routine traffic stop, Arizona. Police pull over a woman. She has no ID.
Okay.
And she gives this strange explanation for who she is. She claims she's Mary Day.
After all these years.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. But, immediately there were red flags everywhere.
What kind of red flags are we talking about?
Well, for starters, her story kept changing. It was inconsistent.
Right.
She had a Southern accent. But Mary grew up in California.
Okay, that's weird.
She couldn't answer basic questions about her own supposed past. Things her sisters remembered clearly, she had no clue about.
Didn't remember key events.
Nope. Her whole behavior was described as just off. And get this, even her own family members, when they saw her, they didn't believe it was Mary.
Her own family didn't recognize her.
That's what the sources say. They were doubtful.
So you've got a woman, Southern accent, no ID, memory gaps acting. Strangely, family isn't convinced.
Every single sign points to imposter, right? It seems obvious.
You'd think so.
But then the police run a DNA test.
Ah, the science part.
And despite everything, all the inconsistencies, the sister's gut feeling, the dogs hitting on a potential grave site, the DNA comes back.
A match.
A match. According to the science, this woman was Mary Day.
Wow.
And just like that, case closed. Officially, it's just baffling. All those red flags. How much weight do investigators typically give family intuition versus something like a DNA match? That clash seems huge here.
It's the ultimate clash, isn't it? DNA is usually seen as the final word, the objective truth. But here it runs headfirst into everything else: memory, intuition, family bonds. This case really throws a spotlight on the incredibly difficult position investigators can be in when the evidence just doesn't line up neatly.
And even with the case closed, so many questions just hung in the air. Like, okay, if this is Mary, why disappear for over 20 years? No contact.
Right. Why vanish so completely?
Why not come forward sooner? And the biggest one, maybe. Why were her sisters still so utterly convinced this wasn't her, despite the DNA proof?
Absolutely. And this is where the theories start swirling, trying to make sense of it all. Basically, two main camps emerged.
Okay, what's theory one?
Theory one is essentially the traumatized runaway idea. That Mary did run away back in '81, and that the years of, trauma, living rough, survival mode, it just broke something.
Like she lost touch with her memory, her past, maybe even who she was.
Exactly. So this theory tries to explain not just the disappearance, but also why this woman seemed so disconnected, why her memory was fragmented. A tragic but maybe plausible outcome given her background.
That makes a certain kind of psychological sense, I suppose. But then how does that explain the family's absolute certainty? The sisters saying, no, that's not her. Where does that intense gut feeling fit in?
Well, that's where the second theory comes in, and it's much darker.
Okay.
Theory 2 suggests the real Mary Day was murdered back in 1981.
Like the sisters suspected.
Yes, and that this woman who turned up in Arizona, she was an imposter.
Planted. Like deliberately.
That's the implication. Planted to cover up the original crime, to get the case closed before anyone dug deeper, or maybe found a body.
And this theory leans heavily on all those suspicious details.
Absolutely. Her strange behavior, the missing memories, that accent, her refusal or inability to explain 2 decades of her life, none of it felt right to a lot of people. Makes you wonder about potential blind spots, even when you have something supposedly definitive like DNA.
And so even now, for many people familiar with this story, the belief remains that the real Mary Day, she never came back.
That the truth is still buried somewhere, literally, perhaps, and figuratively.
Right.
And adding another layer here, the woman identified as Mary Day, she's apparently vanished again, dropped out of public view.
So no real resolution then?
None.
No charges filed related to the disappearance or potential murder, no one held accountable, and despite the dogs, nobody was ever actually found.
So we're left with, well, according to the sources, a name, a DNA result, and this really chilling question hanging over everything. Was this really Mary Day? Or was it the perfect lie?
It's just one of those stories, isn't it? The Mary Day mystery. It stays with you because that DNA match, which should have been the final answer.
Should have solved it.
It just made everything even more confusing, left us with more questions than we started with somehow.
It really forces you to think, doesn't it? If DNA is supposed to be this undeniable proof, what happens when everything else, intuition, memory, the strongest family bonds, just screams that it's wrong?
Yeah.
How do you reconcile those hard facts with those deep human feelings? And what does that conflict tell us about identity? About what makes someone them?
It's a tough one. A story that really resists easy answers. We hope you keep thinking about it, turning it over in your mind, long after we finish talking here today.